Hi all, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video I'm going to be doing something a little bit different than what you're used to by me. I'm going to tell you all a lore story, which is basically for my own version of the Horus Heresy, Age of the Heretic, for the game system of one-page rules. Now I'm going to be doing loads of battle reports for that, terrain builds as well, and I thought it would be a nice idea to give you all the little bit of the background story that I've created for this campaign, this game. And for those of you who follow my battle reports, know that I really enjoy telling a story in each campaign or each battle that I do. So for those of you who are interested, I would say sit back, relax, take a coffee, take a tea, and I'm going to tell you all a little story. All right? Thanks for all your support, guys. Thanks for watching. Now let's do this and relax.
Now, before we begin, I would like to state that a lot of this is me spitting my own story, combining elements of one-page rules background and the 40k lore with my own twist on things, and in no way is this considered to be set in stone. And that is the beauty of one-page rules, the freedom of creating your own world. Now, with that said, enjoy the story. In the future, humanity on Earth is split in two major factions. One trusted in their fate, while the other believed in fact and reason. There was a great war which threatened to destroy what little remained of the Earth. So to guarantee a future for humanity, colonization ships were sent far into space to escape the madness. The ships arrived in a region of space which would later be named the Sirius Sector, where humanity met other alien species for the first time and realized they were but a small flicker in the vast dark unknown. Humanity was not equipped against the many threats the vast blackness of space threw at them, in particular the wormhole demons of the Dark Rift. This part in space, the Dark Rift, is the home of four dark entities known as the gods of havoc. The oldest, Korak, was the god of war and bloodshed, and his brother Erlak was the god of decay and disease. There were two more younger siblings, one called Xayin, a god and master of all things magic and alteration. He was able to change the very fabric of reality. And the youngest of the four, Lanash, he or she, because she could appear to the desires of the worshipper, was a being of lust and sadism, absorbing the souls of all who worshipped her. For each soul she absorbed, she grew stronger, and she had managed to enslave almost the entire elven race, binding them to her will. These four beings of unknown power had tormented humanity for millennia. Then the being called the God King emerged from the Dark Rift. This being was a master of genetic manipulation and creation. He stood beside humanity and in the process deflecting the darker powers. Over time, he created 20 children, beings nearly as powerful as him, and sculpted in his own visage. These 20 were known as the Prime Fathers. Yet to his surprise, but also his satisfaction, two of them turned out to be twin girls. The Havoc gods feared the God King and his children, and so they attempted multiple times to have them assassinated as they grew in their incubation chambers. Many times their minions reached the Prime Fathers and Prime Mothers, but they never succeeded in destroying them. So they devised a plan. If they can't kill them, perhaps there was a way to sway them. Xayin, the havoc god of alteration, created a magical aura that traveled across the Dark Rift to the Aryan Primus, where the God King's children grew in their chambers. This spell would bestow the Prime children with a soul, a human soul, which is something that can easily be corrupted. And this plan worked. One by one, the Prime children developed their own identity, and not the one the God King had manufactured for them. As his children grew, the God King has completed his other project, an army built to protect humanity from all that threatened its existence. These genetic soldiers, he called the Battle Brothers, would be a gift for his children to lead and command. His plan was one the havoc gods were not aware of yet. Unknown as how they found out, they did a desperate attempt once more, and this time they succeeded in dispersing the children throughout the galaxy, far beyond the God King's reach. No one knew how they succeeded in this. Rumors go that one of the twin sisters was a being of great power, perhaps even greater than the God King himself, even before she was born, a being of pure magical energy. After years of manufacturing, the Battle Brothers are now combat ready, and with them at his side he searched the galaxy for his 20 missing children, rounding them up wherever he could find them. He found the first one, close to his homeworld of Arian Primus, Horan Lunar. This name was given to him by his adopted parents, for he was as fierce as a wolf. The child grew at an unnatural rate, and he towered over all other humans on his homeworld of Oculus. Ever since Horan was a boy, he always sat outside, staring at the moon in the night sky, like he was waiting for a greater destiny. The reunion was a joyful one, and the God King embraced the entire sector under his protection. Horan joined his real father and searched the galaxy for his remaining brothers and twin sisters. Eager to meet them, it was like finally Horan had found his destiny, and it had become clear to him. He would become the protector of humanity alongside with his father and his other siblings. It took a very long time, and many battles were fought, with Horan now commanding his own legion, known as the Oculus Wolves, serving as the general to the God King. Planets and sectors were cleared of the tyranny from other species and demons inflicted on humankind, and once freed from their shackles, these got taken under the God King's protection. Horan felt pride in their endeavor. The next sibling that was found was Ilyana, one of the twin sisters. Another joyful encounter, as both brother and sister shared the same tenacity for war. She fought alongside Horan and their father. She became a general, serving under Horan, but over time she felt overshadowed by her brother and his Oculus Wolves, and went on to form a legion of her own loyal followers, later known as the Battle Sisters. With the skill she learned from her father, Ilyana began to genetically alter her human followers. She was later granted the title of God Queen, both by her father and her followers. And when his sister was granted the title of a god, the first spark of jealousy was triggered in Horan. Very faint, but it was there. Over the following decades they found the remaining Prime Fathers, but not every reunion was as joyful as the next, and in the end they were all recovered. All but the second twin sister Amalia. Though she is alive, as the God Queen can feel her energy all around her wherever she goes. Meanwhile, not all of the 18 brothers got along, but this was to be expected, as all are so very different, but all are an unstoppable force to be reckoned with. The Prime Fathers got introduced with their legions, and in most cases this was an honorable one. For the Battle Brothers to be united with their father was a feeling of belonging and purpose. They felt complete, and with their fathers by their side they would do anything to make them proud and disperse of all the enemies of the God King and humanity. And it was here that the plan of the Havoc gods started to take a hold. The souls of some of the primes slowly began to get tainted by their own sheer power and prowess, deeming humanity unfit of their protection. The youngest, or at least the one who was found last, Laurel Reelan, was one of the first to fall to the sway of the dark powers, and slowly he began to plant his seed amongst his siblings, obeying the 4 Havoc gods' every will, but in return he was granted so much greater power. Eventually, over the years and thousands of wars waged across the galaxy, the first found and mighty general of the God King was granted with the title of Overlord, after the great Orc warlord Bragor Kal was defeated, costing nearly the life of Horan. Horan, after being mortally wounded by the Orc, started to sway to the temptations of the evil powers, and slowly he began to turn on his father. The temple in which he rested was one that was touched by the taint of the Havoc gods, and it was Laurel who first learned of his eldest brother to be wounded and wasted no time to rush to his side. Laurel, who was also a master manipulator, convinced Horan that his father is a tyrant and his goal is not to save humanity but to enslave it, and he was using him and his brothers merely as a tool in gaining his ultimate desire. All races bowing to his will and his will alone. And there were indeed many times that Horan and his legion cleared worlds with rebelling people and broke them into submission after killing hundreds of thousands. There was an occasion with one of his brothers, Furion, the prime father of the World Gorgers, on which they slew an entire planet's population in but 2 full days, leaving none alive. And all this was ordered by the God King himself? Or so that is what the evil gods whispered in his ear. Horan played the good son, but was working on a coup to overthrow the God King, but they were not at full capacity to do so. So Horan continued aiding his father after he went off to work on his own plan that took him deep in the bowels of the Dark Rift. The God King entrusted Horan with leading and commanding all the legions in defense of humanity. They went on many campaigns, side by side, brother alongside brother, fighting on many planets across the galaxy. Ilyana had temples built in her honor of pure, devout followers, and her armies of battle sisters were a beacon of hope for all human defense forces on multiple sectors and planets. As her army has become larger than that of her brothers, mostly because her army has a constant resupply of normal human devotees, who can then be genetically enhanced with her powers. Ilyana had a mission of her own, though. No matter the cost, she would find her lost twin sister Amalia. She will do everything to protect humanity, but in the process, she desperately searches for her twin. But that is a story for another time. As for the Prime Father's legions, not every battle was a victory, but slowly humanity started to thrive under the banner of the God King and his sons, being freed from enslavement, and fear crept in the other races, with the impending doom of the Battle Brothers descending on their worlds. It was a glorious age for humanity, but this was not to last. With the God King busy on his home world, manipulating rift powers and keeping the demons at bay from tearing through the fractured veil of the rift. He was doing this to form passageways, leading from Milky Way to Milky Way, connecting trading posts for humanity to travel safely without risking the peril of going through the Dark Rift. Horan felt his time was approaching. He started to send some of his brothers to the far reaches of the galaxy to fight enemies of humankind. All set up by Horan himself, though this was not yet known to his brothers or his sister at the time. It was to keep the Prime Fathers who could pose a threat to him and those he knew would remain loyal to the God King out of his way, so he could kill his father on Arium Primus. But long before we get to that, let's go back to where the corruption began in the first battle report that will come soon. Okay, so thank you all for listening and watching, guys. I know this was a long story, so if you are still with me up to this point, thank you very much, and I hope you did enjoy the story. Now I will do more lore stories on each of the Legion armies over time as the Age of the Heretic campaign progresses. Now I do understand not all of you might like these types of lore videos, so for you I hope you will enjoy the battle reports though and the crafting videos. And yeah, I'm really excited to get this story started. I just gotta build and paint my figures and hope to have the first battle up next week. So if you are not a subscriber, maybe consider clicking the subscribe button and hit the bell icon to be informed when this battle drops, and many more that will follow after that one. Now to all of my subscribers, thank you all again for the constant support, and know I appreciate all of you. And to all of you who are new, welcome and thank you all. So I hope to see you all soon, and I would say bye for now, guys. Bye!